Hello there. Yes, I'm making this and I'm being a bit of a jerk while I'm making this. But November 18th of this year, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet releases, and I'm going to be doing a 24-hour stream, and I would like to see you all there. That's right, November 18th. That's a Friday, 24-hour stream. I will be doing it, and I will be having fun. So come on by, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, do all that stuff, and yeah, we'll have fun. So here's some good news and some interesting news, and takes me more into the video game side of things. And if you haven't been watching on my channel, I've been playing through a Pokemon Sword Nuzlocke right now, and I like Nintendo a lot. I'm starting to get more into PC gaming, but Nintendo's the company I give the most support to, and I find this to be interesting and curious on where things are going. So, Switch hits 114 million, and they cut this off, but I believe that's 114 million Switches sold as Nintendo lowers sales forecast. And it's the lowering of the sales forecast that I'm interested in, and I'm curious how that's going to affect it. But this is amazing numbers. Like, we haven't seen numbers like this in years, and the Nintendo Switch is quickly becoming one of the most sold consoles in modern history. But Nintendo sold 19.2% fewer consoles year over year during the first 6 months of its current fiscal year. And that's somewhat to be expected. Over course of time, the console quits selling as much, plans start moving forward. Still, Switch might have another 3 years left in its life cycle. I go off of how the Pokemon trends go, and that's a conspiracy theory essentially that I have, that you can tell when the next Pokemon what's going to come next based on Pokemon, and we have maybe another 4 years, I think, if my little theory is working correctly. But let's get into this. Nintendo Switch hardware sales have hit 114.3 million as of September 30, up from 111 million, though the company expects to sell fewer consoles this fiscal year. And part of that has to do with inflation, lack of supplies, and things of that nature. You know, when money starts getting tight and things start getting harder to obtain, goods like Nintendo Switch aren't sold as much. Those are fun time things. Those aren't necessities. In its results for the first 6 months of the current fiscal year, the Japanese company said its new net sales were up 5% at 656.9 billion yen, and net profits up 34% at 230.4 billion yen. That's a lot of dough. During the 3-month period ended September 30th, Splatoon 3 sold a huge 7.9 million units right from launch date. And I played a little bit of it. I'll play some more again here soon, but right now I'm focusing more towards Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield as I get ready for Scarlet and Violet. Check out my 24-hour stream on November 18th, which is Nintendo's fastest Switch launch ever. This was followed by Nintendo Switch Sports at 6.15 million, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 3.07 million, and Kirby the Forgotten Land 2.61 million, which reportedly makes it the best-selling Kirby game ever. And Nintendo's been hitting out of the park this past couple of years. Every game keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people are getting more and more excited because more people have the Switch. Switch is doing really cool things, and that's pretty cool. Now, Nintendo's biggest opposition is Nintendo and their fans, and Nintendo competes with Nintendo and nobody else. And sometimes Nintendo does some very dumb things, but sometimes they do some very cool things. We also now have the next Breath of the Wild game coming out next year, I think. So that's going to help push more consoles, and that game's going to probably be massive. I hope it's next year. I'm excited to play it, and I'll play it here on my channel. However, the company reduced its Switch sales forecast for the year ending March 2023 by 2 million units, down from 21 million to 19 million. Because, let's be fair, the economy is in a horrible situation right now, and we are struggling majorly. And when the American economy struggles, the global economy struggles, and Japan is affected by that as well. So, and they give us this wonderful best-selling Switch games. Mario Deluxe, still selling 48.41 million copies. Animal Crossing New Horizons, still selling, I believe, with 40.17 million copies. Super Smash Bros., 29.53 million copies, and it just keeps going on. Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Pokemon Let's Go, Ring Fit Adventure. Oh, I know that one. So the games sell massively, and people love these games. Pokemon's my favorite. But let's continue. The company said that while it sees gradual improvement in semiconductor and other component supplies, taking into consideration production and sales performance thus far, we have modified the Nintendo Switch hardware sales units forecast for the fiscal year. Despite this, the company revised up its net sales plus 3.1%, and net profit 17.1%. Forecast for the year partially citing a weaker yen as the result. And despite this, company revised up its net sales, and again, the yen's becoming weaker because the dollar's becoming weaker because inflation's a muck, and that gets in political stuff. Nintendo said it sold 19.2% fewer Switch consoles during the first 6 months of its current fiscal year compared to the same period a year before, which it said was due to factors including the semiconductor shortage. And that's another thing. The semiconductor shortage, I believe, is still going on, and that's why our wonderful Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5s are so hard to come by, not just because you have bots going out and buying, well, scalpers essentially going out and buying them beforehand and selling them on eBay and stuff. Because of the semiconductor shortages, we're struggling in other tech sectors, but Nintendo's still pulling along. Effects of lockdowns. Nintendo's new forecast of 19 million hardware sales, down from 21 million, represent a 9.8% decline from the previous year and a 37% decline from fiscal year 2020. However, it should be noted that Nintendo is known for its conservative projections, and they continue going into this, and them not being able to sell as much units or not projecting to sell as much units isn't the end of the world. Well, Switches, that is, when your games are selling like hotcakes and you have massive titles on the horizon, titles that people will indefinitely buy because Nintendo fans, myself included, will shill out all that money for it. I already have both Scarlet and Violet coming. If they do DLCs, I'm gonna buy both DLCs because I need them Pokemons. In addition, we saw stable sales. Wait, I think I skipped something. Conservative projections. It is strange that Nintendo cut its forecast of Switch shipments by 10%, even though there is a broad consensus that chip shortages is easing. Tokyo-based industrial analyst Sirkin Toto told Bloomberg. Too many T's. I expect the next quarter to be another home run for Nintendo, largely thanks to the release of the new Pokemon title next week. And that is going to be a massive title. Again, check out my channel for my 24-hour Scarlet and Violet stream. I'm going to be streaming Violet right now, Scarlet coming that day, but I have a physical copy of Scarlet because I'm going to do VGC with that one. But Nintendo said regarding the Nintendo Switch business during the first half of this fiscal year, April through September 2020, each title released this period has sold well. Amazingly, let's be real. With Splatoon 3 getting off to a good start with sales of 7.9 million units, as well as Nintendo Switch Sports at 6.5 million units. And, the Nintendo Switch Sports is really just Wii Sports just retooled for the Nintendo Switch, and that was a big seller of the Wii. Mom, Dad, Grandma, and Grandpa were able to finally play video games, even if it was just bowling, golf, and tennis. So that's a big seller right there for the older generations, the people that aren't really gamers, but that still want to see what the kids are up to, what's hip. Mario Strikers Battle League at 2.7 million units. I haven't played it. I wasn't big into the Mario Strikers game. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at 1.72 million units. I haven't played that either, mainly because I know nothing about Xenoblade, and I've been told it's good, I just haven't looked into it. In addition, we saw stable sales in titles released through the end of the previous fiscal year, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe selling 3.7 million units for a cumulative sale of 48.41 million units. One of the biggest games that is still selling. And mind you, I bought it as well recently. I have 2 copies, a physical copy somewhere and a digital copy because this game's fun. And also Mario Kart 8 has new packs that are coming out every couple months. So you have new maps that are coming out and people are getting excited for that. So you helped revitalize Mario Kart 8. Kirby and the Forgotten Land selling 2.61 million units for a cumulative, I can't say that word again, sales of 5.27 million units. Sales of the titles from other software publishers also continued to grow steadily, bringing the total number of million seller titles during this period to 15, including titles from these other software publishers. You have to remember, you got the Ezio Auditore collection, you got Skyrim, I believe Doom's on there, Final Fantasy, a lot of Final Fantasy games are on there, not 14 through 15, but you got some third-party games, which was huge for Nintendo finally putting on other AAA games onto their consoles, not just Nintendo games. That helped the Switch soar. Now, you also have the Steam Deck that's out now, so that's going to be some decent competition for the Switch, but the Switch is still cheaper than the Steam Deck itself. As a result, these factors, total software sales grew by 1.6% year on year to 95.4 million units. On the other hand, hardware units sold decreased by 19.2% year on year to 6.68 million units due to factors such as shortage of semiconductors and other component supplies. And it's gonna go down for a while. The Switch will be selling relatively decently, I think, for a while. It's just not going to be selling as fast as it was. Granted, let's say you had the Switch OLED come out. Switch OLED, cool idea, but all it was a Switch with an OLED and the ability to use a hard line into your internet. That's all it did. Nothing really new. You have rumors of a upgraded Switch floating around, so that might also be impacting their, hey, we might lower our Switch sales because we have this bigger, better Switch potentially on the horizon. So we got that to take into account for all this. So turning to our digital businesses for the dedicated video game platform, Nintendo Switch downloadable versions of packaged software sold well, and Nintendo Switch Online sales also increased, mainly because I gotta give criticism to Nintendo. You ended up putting a bunch of stuff behind a massive paywall that I actually was interested in, and now I spend $50 a year for Nintendo Switch Online. Although being able to play N64 games, the biggest problem Nintendo Switch has is its online feature, and not just Nintendo Switch Online, but actually connecting with people. It is garbage. The lag is horrific. The only thing that it actually works decently on is Pokemon, but that's a turn-based game, so... But even then, you get drops in the middle of matches, and it's a nightmare. In addition, sales on add-on content rose not only for Nintendo titles, but also for titles from other software publishers, along with the sales of download-only titles, helping push digital sales to 186.8 billion yen, up 30.2% year on year. You gotta admit it, Nintendo's crushing it, but Nintendo doesn't compete with Xbox or PlayStation. Nintendo competes with Nintendo. It is its own worst enemy, but it is steadily moving. Again, getting those AAA third title games onto the Nintendo Switch, that massively increased the Switch's profitability. When the Switch first came out, you didn't have very many games that people were interested in, but you steadily started giving games out. You had some interesting titles come out, and the console's becoming one of the biggest consoles to date. Earlier this year, Switch was already confirmed as the best-selling Nintendo home console of all time, beating Wii's 101.63 million. However, it still has a way to go before it matches Nintendo DS, 154.02 million units sold, and Game Boy and Game Boy Color at 118.69 million sold. But I think it can beat the Game Boy Color here relatively soon. The Nintendo DS, possibly, because what the DS had that... it could beat that. Chances are slim, but what the DS had was a very unique system. And again, similar to the Wii, a lot of non-gamers bought it because you had things like the Brain Challenge games, and I cannot remember what those names were. You had a bunch of interesting titles that were more for every casual gamers or people that aren't really gamers to play, while kids were playing Pokemon and things like that. But now that Pokemon's over on the Switch, I think more people will tune in for the Switch. Outside of Nintendo's own consoles, only PlayStation 4 with 116 million and PlayStation 2 with 155 million have outsold Nintendo Switch. And I see Nintendo outplacing PlayStation 4 and the Game Boy Color within this year, if not next year. Because it is so close. Remember, it is at 1.14 million sold. That's gonna crush both the PS4 and the Game Boy Color in no time, with how it's selling still and with all these massive titles still to come. On Tuesday, Nintendo also announced the formation of a new subsidiary company, DENA Co. Ltd., the company behind many of its own mobile games. And I'm going to be looking into that because when I hear mobile games, I get worried. And I might do a video on that for tomorrow, Thursday, and figure out what the heck is this this whole thing and what is it saying, because they tell us here the new company Nintendo Systems Co. Ltd. will open in April 2023 in Tokyo, owned 80% by Nintendo, so Nintendo has the sole control, and focuses on the development and operations service to strengthen the digitalization of Nintendo's businesses. And I'm really curious on what that is, because if it's something as simple as Candy Crush, why? But if you're going about a way how Pokemon's been doing it with a lot of their mobile things, the only useful thing Pokemon put out that's mobile besides Pokemon Go for some people is Pokemon Home, but Pokemon Home's mobile is, in all honesty, a ripoff. I don't enjoy having to pay money to store my Pokemon from other generations, and you need to give me something better if I'm going to be paying that much money every couple months. And I completely forget that I have a Pokemon Home subscription until it's too late every single time. And I have a buttload of VGC ready Pokemon stuck over there. And with mobile games, I don't like that. And that's criticism for Nintendo. Again, I'm a Nintendo boy, but I have massive criticism for them. So with that, guys, give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think the Switch will outplace the Game Boy and the PlayStation 4 within the next year or so? And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it out with all your friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live. And I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.